So this is my math quiz app, and it was really fun, um, and I learned a lot of new things. So definitely the first thing that I want to go over is that the problems display using string interpolation, which yeah, this does, and I did that by, let's find it. So right here, when you press the button, it brings out a new problem. And then I have the numbers randomly generate. And so I have that for the first one, second one, and I also have it so that it'll randomly switch between addition or multiplication. So my app is, you can use addition or multiplication. And so right here I interpolated by using the first integer and then having it so that it would be addition or multiplication. So then it would switch it with a plus or times. And I did that, and I used the same concept also, and you can find it in our textbook when it came to learning about how to change the coloring of if whether being correct or incorrect. I also did that, and we'll get to that soon. But that's what I first did. So if you come over here, you can type in your answer, right? And so the input for each problem, it's bound to an at state variable, which it is up here. So these are these different state variables. I noticed that like these ones for integer answer for addition and then multiplication, I probably didn't need to make a variable for that. I could have just probably put the operators in parentheses, but I'm kind of realizing that now, but that's okay. But anyways, for example, right here, let's just start a new problem. So it's going to be like 0 times 6 is 0. You check your answer and it's correct. And I made it so that it's green when it's correct. Well, and a lot of this was kind of straight out of our textbook, which was very helpful. And this is a tertiary, like an if else statement, but in like a shorter form, which I actually thought that was really useful, and to not have to overcomplicate things and just use it in one line of code instead of like a block of more like kind of this is more like that. But I thought that was really interesting. Also am able to evaluate the answer using expressions and display feedback using the conditionals and at state. So that's what I did. I was able to have feedback right here using the feedback variable that I had over at the like I have my feedback variable for the state private variable right here, which that changes depending on what your input is. And if it's correct input, if it's calculated correctly, then it'll be correct. If it's incorrect, if it's not equal to whatever operator is in relation to, then it'll be incorrect. And I am able to change the color by over here with the feedback variable with bring it out as text. I'm able to say that's correct, and then if not, then it'll be green. If not, then it's red. That's kind of how that shorthanded is written out in one line, which I really thought was cool. Like for example, we'll do a new problem, like 9 times 1. Let's say I thought it was 9 plus 1, and I put 10. It's incorrect. So yeah, as you can see, it's like that. Yeah, I just made sure that I used 2 different arithmetic operators. So I chose addition and multiplication. I could have done subtraction. It probably would have been fine, but this seemed to be easier for me, and I'm just really trying to get the hang of all this. But it's a lot of fun. And then I also made sure that I did type conversion correctly. So in order to, like for example, this loop down here, we must, well, hold on. Well, this loop we have to use let in order for that to be correct. And then when it comes to, like, for example, using randomly generating these things within the H stack, we have to convert it into an integer right here, because normally these comes out as strings. So that by doing the integer right here, it can correctly output as a number. And because we're not using any type of complicated decimals, I didn't use double. But if I was using floating integers and I could modify it, we can make this a lot more complicated and it could actually be a lot more fun. And I also made sure that the color and styling reinforced the result with the incorrect and correct. I showed you that. I also like I tried to choose a couple of colors. I made it look pleasing, and I even added a little some symbols up in the top, just messing around with the system name. I didn't really get to do that in the beginning of the class, and so I was kind of messing around with that this week, and I learned a lot. I attempted to upload like a different image that was bigger, but I was having an issue with using the assets file. It's not showing up for some reason. I'm not sure, but I would like to learn how to do that if I wanted to put different images and stuff. I'm sure we'll do that. But overall, yeah, every time you do try a new problem, it brings up a new problem. It's fun. Like 11 is correct. I would like to modify it. Maybe like if you press a new problem, it'll like take away the correct. But I think I kind of need to learn more about functions to do that. But overall, this was really fun. I've maybe spent more time than I needed to on it, but at the same time, I was able to learn a lot. So it was kind of hard sometimes, but overall, just watching the code along with the teacher and then just like doing research and trying to learn, kind of coming up with my own things, ended up being fun, and then messing around with this in the end was very fun. So thank you, and I hope you enjoyed.